Yeah, they won't get an easy ride at all. Just one quick one on Rex Tillerson. He hasn't actually been formally confirmed by the Senate yet. He's emerged from the committee, but there'll still have to be a vote on the Senate floor, but that will happen in the next few days. As for the car industry, it was they were one of the massive butts of Donald Trump's ire during the whole kind of election campaign, accusing them of shipping jobs to Mexico, making cars, bringing them back in. And he threatened them. He threatened them with big border tariffs if they continue to do that. Now, some of those companies have started making noises and started putting some investment into places like Detroit and Michigan, further west as well. So that does seem to be having some kind of effect. But it is one of those industries he's got in his sights very much. And it sounds like they'll get rid of the Riot Act a bit today.
This confirmation process, he must be getting a bit fed up with it. Rex Tillerson was still waiting for, as you say. Mike Pompeo has been approved by the Senate. There's a rumour that he's going to back James Comey's FBI director, which would, of course, avoid any difficulties in a committee.
Yeah, a pretty strong rumour, actually. There was an incident, I think it was either last night or the night before, where there was a picture or someone saw Comey at a White House reception, and Donald Trump goes over to him and gives him a good bit of what's described as a sort of bro hug kind of thing. And I think at that stage we got a bit of an indication that perhaps Comey was staying. Hugely controversial character. You'll remember it was he who decided to reopen the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails 10 days before the general election. That's something that the Clinton camp think contributed to their defeat. Of course, it would make Donald Trump's camp. I was with him on that day up in New Hampshire when that happened. They were absolutely cock-a-hoop when that happened. They thought it was a real game changer. But of course, the FBI also one of the agencies that's been pretty strong on the role the Russians have played or allegedly played in hacking the US elections, something Donald Trump described as ridiculous, and he's lashed out at them for that. So it will avoid a difficult confirmation hearing. He's having some difficulties in that area already, but an interesting decision to keep him in place. And it does mean, of course, that the investigations he's already started are likely to continue, and that includes those investigations into the role of the Russians.
On a familiar theme for Donald Trump, a quote from him: "Environmentalism is out of control."
Yeah, so today he signed also an order reinstating this Keystone pipeline. This is it's a kind of network of pipelines that will get oil from the oil sands of Canada and via Nebraska and places like that, ships it down effectively in the end to the Gulf of Mexico, where it gets refined. That's something that was toing and froing over the last few years. Eventually, the Obama White House decided not to give it the go-ahead. That's now been given the go-ahead. And also a separate one over in the Dakotas. You'll remember those pictures probably just before Christmas of those demonstrators and Native Americans demonstrating about, and it getting pretty violent up there, about this pipeline. That's being given the go-ahead as well. So that's a very strong indication that he's not going to buy these environmental arguments all that much, and he's put someone in charge of the Environment Protection Agency who's been down in Oklahoma, where he comes from. He's been someone who's attempted to strip lots and lots of those regulations away. So a pretty clear message there on the environment, I think.
We are getting some pictures, actually, of Donald Trump and that meeting with the car makers. Of course, in terms of business, which is his realm, he knows what he's talking about. I mean, how are they... Are they going to listen to what he says? Are they actually going to change policy because of what he says?
Well, I mean, there's been some signs already that they have changed some of the plans they were making. But the difficulty for the car industry is it's massively complex. You know, the supply chain, the components are made in all different parts of the world, increasingly in China. The assembly of this bit is done in one place, the assembly of that bit is done in another. You can't just say, OK,
Gary,
we're going to lift this.
Yes. Forgive me, Gary. Let's just listen to Donald Trump for a moment. I'll come back to you. Let's just listen to what he's saying.
Excuse me? Oh. Would you like to stay a little longer? You're not supposed to ask questions. You're not supposed to ask questions.
It's about James Comey.
We're good.
Thank you, Press. Let's go.
He's gonna stay.
There's always one, Jonathan, right? Gotta be one. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we've learned nothing from that particular clip, but I'm just... in terms of his manner, I mean, 2 days in terms of this week, and there's no change of approach, is there?
No, and we're told by reporters spending all their day at the White House that he's doing this. He's sort of calling people in calling the reporters in. The grammar of what was going on there is that's effectively a kind of what they call a spray, where you get the chance to get the pictures. And what he was complaining about was breaching the etiquette by actually shouting a question, which he wasn't very pleased about. But he's doing that a lot, and of course that gives the television networks pictures to run, including ourselves, and it gives the impression of hitting the ground running, being very busy, getting stuck in straight away, and getting moving with some of those key messages that he promoted during the campaign, and the ones that he has no doubt won him that general election.
That bro hug you described with Mr. Comer would be that would be the first bro hug from the president, wouldn't it?
Let me think. I think he's done a few of those. He's done a few other things too, but yeah, I think he's done one or two of those. But yeah, a bro hug with the FBI director is quite something, isn't it?
Gary, thank you very much. Gary Donoghue there in Washington. Thanks.